Hello, all you cool cats and kittens out there. It's Dr. Connie Greer, Lab Assistant Mary, and today we have a very special guest with us. This is our very own lab cat, Ash. Now, Mary, Ash is a domestic short-haired cat, which means he lives at home with me.
He's very cute.
He is. However, Ash is also very well adapted for living outside. What sort of adaptations do you think he has to live outside?
Well, he definitely has claws.
He has claws.
Teeth.
Teeth.
He can hear.
He can hear very, very well.
And he can see.
And he can see. Did you know cats see better at night?
I did not.
And
That is a cool
they
fact.
need very little light to be able to see. And it helps them because they're nocturnal hunters. So it protects them from animals that might hunt them during the day. And it also allows them to see the small rodents and creatures that they would normally hunt at night. I'm going to pass Ash over to you for just a minute.
Come on, buddy.
So one thing about domestic short-haired cats or even domestic long-haired cats, basically your house cat, is they all kind of look the same. They have the same sort of stature. They all have sort of the same physical features. They might be different in size. They might be different in color. Some are going to have long hair. Some are going to have short hair. But they've all adapted to live in an environment with humans. That is not the same of wild cats. So one of the things I'm going to ask you about, Mary, is this is what we call the Florida panther. Okay. Mary, this is a black cat.
He looks like Ash.
Ash is a black cat. What do you think is the difference between these two?
I'm going to guess size.
Size, yes. Why would the black color help them in Florida?
That's a good question.
So it helps them blend in with their surroundings. So they're living in sort of these Florida Everglades areas that are very swampy and very dark. So it protects them from what would be the only hunter or predator there, which would be humans.
Makes sense.
And it also allows them to be stealthy and stalk up onto their prey at night. So all of our wild cats have adapted to live in certain environments. This is an African jaguar. Okay.
He's cute too.
Yeah. This is an African jaguar. These are both jaguars now, right? Can you tell me the difference in the environment in which they're going to live?
Definitely, he has spots and the one is black, so a little bit different. Right. I'm going to put Ash away for just a minute because he's getting a little he's fancy here.
Yeah,
so I'm going to step off for just a minute and let you continue.
Okay. So the African jaguar is spotted because it hunts on a plain type of environment and also lives in trees. So it will take its kill up into the trees, and that is how it hides and protects itself up in the camouflage from predators that might be looking for it. So it will lay up in the trees during the day, and they are very, very hard to spot. Some of the other big cats that are out there are cheetahs and lions. Now, both of those animals live in Africa as well. And I've got some pictures here to show you. Here is our lion. Looks like a typical lion, right? Big lion cat laying there. And here is a cheetah, and he's laying down as well. Mary, can you tell me the difference in the way these two animals are built?
Lion looks a little heftier.
He is.
And then cheetahs have spots.
Cheetahs have spots as well, but they both live on an African desert plateau type of environment. The cheetah's body structure is such that it is the world's fastest land animal. It can run very, very fast. Lions are not built for running. They will run, but they cannot run at speeds like the cheetah can run. But you will definitely not outrun a cheetah. One interesting fact about cheetahs is although they can run very, very quickly, they can only do it for a short amount of time. So it's got to be a quick run when they're sort of like a sprinter. But what the whole point of that is they've really adapted for their environment. They've got to be in that ecosystem from their ancestral cats up to now. They have formed these adaptations over time through a process called evolution, where they have made themselves the king predators in these environments that they're in.
Ooh, speaking of kings, have you seen that new movie, Tiger King?
Tiger King. I have seen the Tiger King.
I haven't.
We're sort of the tiger queens here today, talking about
we can be.
ecosystems. Because the animals that live in Africa, although they can live and survive in zoos here, if we let them out in the wild in an environment like South Georgia, this environment is not conducive to their survival. So they have not adapted, and adaptations take time to make. So you're not going to be able to go out and necessarily study large cats in your area. But I bet if you walked out your back door and looked at your backyard, if you took a walk to the park, you would see all sorts of animals living in an environment. And in that environment together, we call an ecosystem. And all of these animals play a part in their ecosystems. The birds, the squirrels, the bugs, even feral cats play a part in their ecosystems. And humans are also a part of that ecosystem. So how it all fits together, what's a predator, what's a prey in those ecosystems, how do they survive? How do they adapt then when it becomes cold? Why do birds fly south in the winter? Is it because of the cold weather? They want to stay warm. So
And I guess they don't have fur coats.
they don't have fur coats either. So all of these things come along in an ecosystem to make it a successful ecosystem. So that's my first challenge for you all, is to step outside your door. Even if you live in an urban environment where there's not a lot of grass, there are birds that live there. Sometimes, like in downtown Savannah, we have a lot of pigeons.
Yes.
So look at the pigeons. What are they eating? How are they surviving in an environment where there's no natural prey for them to feed on? So that's the first thing, is just examine the ecosystem you live in. And then think about how it would be if you took something away from that ecosystem. So let's say you took the pigeons out of the ecosystem in Savannah. What do you think would happen?
That's a good question. We'd have a lot of breadcrumbs on the ground.
I think we'd have a lot of food laying on the ground.
Yeah, for sure.
Possibly.
Yeah.
What happens if humans move out of an ecosystem?
That would be very interesting to see. Probably a lot of the animals that are not there would come back.
You're right. That is actually happening right now with all of us being confined to our homes or not allowed to go out to work. In some urban environments, animals are coming out and coming back into towns. So it's interesting, if you look at the news online, you can see evidence of this. One other thing about adaptations is climate. Climate changes is how adaptations typically start. So a challenge I have for you is to think about then, like, what if suddenly our climate changed? What if we got colder, or what if we got warmer? How would animals that we are currently living with adapt to that environment? What do you think?
It might take a little bit of time, but they might have a thicker coat. I know for me, I have horses at home, and in the winter, they grow more hair.
They grow more hair.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's how they adapt.
So animals can adapt, and they adapt to their ever-changing ecosystems and their environments with predators and prey in them. So for parents and children, I have an activity for you guys I want you to try. I want you to draw a nonsense animal. Parents, this is a good opportunity for you. Just draw a nonsense animal. It doesn't have to make any sense whatsoever, just something that looks like it could live in an environment.
Okay, like a bird.
Could be a bird. It could be a bird with fish scales and claws and teeth, whatever you want it to be.
This could be fun.
Yeah. And then I want you to show it to your student, your child, and ask them to describe the habitat ecosystem that it might live in. And I want you to make sure that they are including things like, what would it eat? Where would it live?
That's a great question.
How does it find a mate? Does it live in a pack? Does it live by itself? These are all questions that a student can answer about this animal that you've drawn. And remember, the idea is not about how good of a drawer you are. It's about the habitat. Then once your student can explain this to you, I want you to change the habitat on them. So if they say it lives in a South Georgia or temperate climate, a forest, it lives in a pine tree, well, what happens if the temperature changes and all of a sudden we're now living in an Arctic tundra, which just means it's very, very cold and snowy and icy. How is that animal going to change? What adaptations is it making? And have them redraw the animal now based on those adaptations, label those adaptations, and say why it has changed that way. So go out, investigate your backyard. If you live in an environment where there's a forest, turn over logs, look at the bugs that are living down there, look at the plants, look at all the things that are on the forest floor. Ecosystems are all around you, whether large or small, and they are fascinating, and they all play a part in our world today.
Absolutely. Great information. Thank you. That's awesome. This
Awesome.
sounds like a lot of fun. Y'all give it a try.
Give it a try. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.